Dear Ruth, I dreamed about you again last night. I hold your face in my mind. I think about your hair getting longer.
As well as directing Ain't Them Body Saints, you also wrote it. Where did you draw the main inspiration from?
I really wanted to make a film that was dealing with a lot of the archetypes that I enjoy in cinema and in American American storytelling tradition in general. And a classic trope of American folklore is the outlaw. And so I wanted to tell a story about outlaws. And in doing that, I began to just be fascinated by the idea of what happens after the movies usually end, and where do they go from there. And so I started the movie where Bonnie and Clyde or Badlands would have ended, and just kept writing from there.
I shot someone. I think I shot someone.
It's gonna be okay. All you gotta do is wait for me.
I'm confused, Ruth. I don't know why you keep...
Was the film informed or influenced even by any particular directors or even writers?
I would say absolutely both. I was very influenced by Robert Altman, who is one of my favorite filmmakers, favorite American filmmakers, and I wanted to do a film that sort of was in the spirit of McCabe and Mrs. Miller and Thieves Like Us. Those were two tremendous influences on this film. And then the literature of Cormac McCarthy is that's my favorite living American author, and I just love his use of language and the way he handles landscapes, and I tried to imbue the film with some of those qualities as well.
It's going to be all over the news later. Thought best you hear this to my friend.
Hear what?
When is it set? I was trying to figure it out from picking up clues, but I couldn't really tell if it was the 70s or when is it set?
It is ostensibly in the 1970s, but one of the things we noticed when we were driving around small town Texas as we were location scouting was that all of the towns, the architecture is from the 1930s or 1940s, and because they are all farming communities, everything everyone owns is made to last. So everyone wears old clothes, they drive old trucks, and it's very hard to tell what time period you're in. And so, although I wrote the script to take place in the 1970s, once we started to visit these towns, I decided it would be really nice to have it be not literally set in any particular time period. So we used 1975 as like our rule, and we didn't really go past that in terms of like cars or anything like that. But we tried to make everything kind of a blend of all the different time period, the decades before that. And I really thought that would help free up the film from being a period piece. Even though it feels like it's from the past, I didn't want it to be specifically set in any time period, and hopefully that makes the story more immediate and more universal.
I could put an end to all this right now all by myself. All I'd have to do is tell the truth.
Whatever it is you've done, when I see you with your daughter...
For you, what do Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara bring to the two main roles?
They brought something which I hadn't anticipated, which is this sense of romance. I knew that there was a sense of a love story to the script, but I didn't know how much of a love story it was until I saw them together. And the chemistry they had was something that none of us expected, and we actually wrote new scenes and shot new scenes so that they could be together more, because initially the first draft of the script had very little screen time, and they still do have very little screen time, but they were so instantly believable as two people who are desperately in love, star-crossed lovers as it were, that I felt suddenly the film became a love story, whereas before it had never been quite so romantic as they made it.
And one of those days, it will be so. And then we can ride off to somewhere.
And what's next for you, David?
I'm writing a lot. I'm just doing a lot of writing. I've got 3 scripts that I'm working on right now, and whichever one finishes first, maybe it'll be the one I make. I'm not sure.
Didn't I read someplace though that you're working with Robert Redford?
Yeah, one of the scripts. I've been back in my hotel working on it today. In fact, is a adaptation of a New Yorker article about a bank robber, and Robert Redford is going to star and produce the film as well.